Plaza de Portugal marked the start of a lengthy one-way section of wiring, inbound vehicles running alongside the bay and the beach. Here an outbound Q1 turns into the plaza, former terminus of the town's last tram route. Excellent top shots of the busy hub at Plaza del Miña, once served by no less than 9 trolleybus routes. By 1975, only 5 still passed very slowly under the decaying overhead. This had started to cause major problems and delays in the service. This one is even taking 2 people to try to put the poles back on. Six routes had formerly traversed the Avenida de la Marina to terminate at Puerto Real, close to the docks and the yachting marina. Once worked by double-deckers, the 14 required just 2 buses. Although the line was only 1.5 miles long, the journey time was 18 minutes. Towards the end, routes tended to close and then reopen, often for just short periods. For example, Q1s returned briefly to the 8 in late 1976. This, the longest route at just 3 miles, bumped along quiet country lanes to San Jose, a suburban village with a strong rural flavor. By the end, A Corunha had 29 vehicles for just 9 scheduled duties. This meant that the surviving 25 Q1s could be used on a rotation basis. When this attractive and absorbing undertaking finally turned off the power on the 4th of January 1979, it had the last operational Q1s in Spain. Just before the end, a group of British enthusiasts visited Pontevedra and A Corunha on board a London Transport RT in order to create these nostalgic scenes. This ramshackle interurban had been built to avoid the cost of installing a light railway. Running from A Corunha for some 20 miles to the small town of Carvalho, it appeared in the railway timetable and offered a means of transport for passengers, goods and livestock in a sparsely populated agricultural area. It took 7 years to build, before finally opening in 1950 with German equipment supplied at the height of the war. A rare view of one of the first 12-mans with the original Seda body rolling into the forecourt of Artejo depot. Note the attempt to increase the height for the Q1s at the company's station in A Corunha. For inbound single-deckers to enter the terminal, the conductor had to alight to pull the frog leading off the town wiring. Number 12 rocks up the steep ramp surmounting the pavement. A rebuilt man departs on the hourly limited stop service to Carvalho. In 1962, 8 Q1s were acquired. 2 years later, 7 were in use. Although unable to haul trailers, they did work right through, but mostly they provided the hourly stopping service to our Trecho. Compounded by poor roads and rickety overhead, dewirements were frequent, passengers often joining the search for a lost trolley head. On entering A Corunha, the company latterly shared the municipal wiring, but originally there had been 8 parallel wires in the same street. When a Q1 approached the terminus, it simply coasted down the hill. On the outward journey, as there was no frog at this junction, the poles were simply transferred across. Passing an outbound Vectra on Route 5. San Cristobal. Most short workings reversed either by means of gravity or a T-pole. Carvalho's Q1s were little altered, except for the repositioning of the stairs and the fitting of platform doors. The iron ladder was a must. It gave access to the roof and the store of spare trolley heads, kept under the rear opening panel. Number 24 would be withdrawn in 1968. '23 was the first Q1 to have large fleet numbers. Views now on the rugged 5-mile section between San Cristobal and our Trecho, famed for its steep hills and hairpin bends. Despite the infrequent service, there was double wiring throughout, supported by wooden traction poles. On the Q1s, the front inspection panel had been removed, and the destination box plated over. Frequently, the published timetable bore little or no relationship to the actual service offered. Interurban characteristics included the conveyance of parcels for the national railways and the sale of pre-purchased tickets. In the background, the system's second number 23. This had come from Vigo in 1969 and was the last Q1 to enter service at Carvalho. Next, a glimpse of number 9 with its modern Castra Sua body. The other surviving mans had a somewhat rectangular-looking body of unknown make. When these views were taken in 1969, only 4 Q1s were still active. As none of the fleet had bells, departures were preceded by a stentorian shout of "Vamos!" by the conductor. When extensive roadworks led to the closure of the town wiring in A Corunha, the interurban was doomed. This hair-raising reversal provides a fitting reminder of this quite extraordinary outfit.